Nithyananda, welcome everybody to another session of Vakyartha Sadhas. My name is Sri Nithyananda, and today we are welcomed again by my fellow disciples of Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam. We have Sri Nithya Ashutoshananda with us, Sri Nithya Yanatmananda with us, Sri Nithya Paramestyananda, and today our first time seeing him here, Sri Nithya Achutamayananda. Welcome and thank you all, Nithyananda, for being here. And if this is your first time coming and joining in on these sessions, Vakyartha Sadhas it's an experiential sharing, and it's an expressing of our understandings of a specific spiritual topic. And so every evening when we're watching our guru's satsang, his daily discourse, he'll give a few very powerful cognitions for us to chew on and contemplate, internalize. And these Vakyartha Sadhas sessions are really about bringing these cognitions and lifting one another to higher understandings. And although there's 6 individuals here, only one person can speak at a time, and so it's really about being in a deep space of listening, actually, rather than trying to speak and be in a conversation thinking about previous thoughts. It's really about being engaged with the moment in a very deep space. And so if you're joining us here, our guru says just take 10 minutes, spend 10 minutes internalizing these truths. And so we welcome you to sit and join us for 10 minutes or so. We'll be here for in total, we'll be here in total for 60 minutes, but please at least stay for 10 minutes and contemplate these deep spiritual truths with us. Before we get started in this evening's session, we'll start with our prayer, the Sadguru Vandanam, and I welcome Sri Nithya Achutamayananda to lead us in that prayer.
Nithyananda Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Gandvatisham Tatmadilaksham Eknityam Vimalamachit Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Satgurum Tam Namami.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. And so this evening's topic is Puja is life. Atma Puja makes you manifest the highest powerful cognitions in life. And so in this evening's discourse, Swamiji, he said that your consciousness can physically alter the reality. Your consciousness can physically alter the reality. And so consciously, when you intend something, that is the most powerful way for you to alter the reality. And this is why he insists on every morning Shiva Puja be conducted by you. And so during that time, you're making a conscious declaration. And this is one way we can overcome or create a very powerful intention. And this is why today's topic is also Puja is life. So with that, if anybody would like to lead off with today's topic, Puja is life. Atma Puja makes you manifest the highest powerful cognitions in life.
Yeah, I would just ask Nithyananda, why or how Puja is life?
So my first cognition about this is that Puja is offering our gratitude. Gratitude is established in the Sahasrara. It is the experience of the last chakra. So my understanding is life can only be experienced when all the chakras are fully alive and awakened. And that is why doing puja and awakening the gratitude dimension in our life to complete the circle of the chakras, that is why it is life, and it allows life to flow and happen to us.
Nice. I mean, from my own personal experience, I feel when I hear puja is life, I kind of cognize it in a different kind of way, because when I think about it in terms of, okay, if I don't do puja for a day, how does my day change? And looking into it, it's a really subtle experience, but it's really real. It Puja almost sets the tone for the rest of the day. It sets the way the whole day is going to move for me. It 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 allows me to decide my day rather than letting the day happen to me. And I feel like, when I decide to be in oneness with Paramashiva every single day, then every single day, in a way, I feel it's in the bag. Like, it's only progress. It's only like fulfillment. It's so fulfilling. Every single day becomes so fulfilling. And I use puja as my sort of, like, yeah, it's that point. Like, okay, if I get puja done, if I get my morning routine done, the rest of the day just falls into place, and it always does. And like, if you ask me why that is, I don't know exactly why, but that's my personal experience with it. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how you guys feel about that. It's just, that's how it is.
My personal experience of puja, one thing I've seen many times is that it heals my rajas, the agitation, the restless energy inside of me. For some reason, if I were to do puja in a hurry, okay, if I'm in the thought current that I don't have time, I have to do puja, I'm doing puja in a hurry, so I finish puja quickly. Throughout the day, I would have this restlessness which would be with me and make me feel there's no time, or some kind of agitation regarding how the whole day flows. If I sit and do the puja, I've seen in many, many days where as I'm doing the puja, I might be restless, but if I just stick to it and just allow the flow to happen, by the end of the puja, that restlessness is gone. And during the day, I do not experience that restlessness in any of the actions that or at least the level of restlessness that I'm cognizing in any of the actions that I do. So I've seen many, many times how it really it really matters. If I decide to compromise on puja, it affects my day. If I don't, even though if technically sometimes it feels like, oh, it'll take more time or whatever, it just makes the whole thing happen so smoothly. The whole day flows much more naturally.
Like, and puja also, like, the setting of the intention behind the puja is one aspect of it, the one of the major aspects we're going to be talking about today. But also the Sanskrit chanting that from your depth, from your, Muladhara chakra, and really having that cadence of the Devanagari, Sanskrit language. It really shifts your vibration. The very frequency of every cell in your body changes to match the frequency of the enlightened language, Sanskrit. So that by itself, is setting you on the track to just bliss overall, you know. And it's happening at such a crucial point in time. Brahma Muhurta, or, supposed to be happening at Brahma Muhurta, ideally. It's as Swamiji described it, and I may be paraphrasing here, but it's a point in time where all your patterns are brought to the surface, and where you consciously decide to continue harboring those patterns, or just consciously deciding to break those patterns and move forward. And so, that statement in and of itself goes back to the topic, the conscious declaration of puja and the value of it. It just goes to show.
Yeah, I think in today's world especially, I know for me it's very easy for attention to get drawn to, various different things. So, our phones, social media, we're constantly being pulled in various different directions. And so if you don't start your day with a real, like, powerful intention, with a purpose, and you don't have this full understanding of where you want your attention to be throughout the day, you can very easily get pulled in all the different directions of Maya. And so I think why puja is life is because, for instance, like if you're scrolling through Facebook and you see a video and you can just get caught in that whirlwind of video after video after video, your mind is being pulled in different ways. But for puja, it's the most depth you'll get, the biggest depth experience of oneness you'll get throughout your day, especially if you've done the full morning routine with full integrity. I know from my experience that it's a very deep moment of me connecting with Paramashiva. And so from that space, when I am most connected to my true self and to Paramashiva, the divine, that is the best space to possibly make any declaration, any decision, any intention. And so I feel like that for me is why puja is life, because I'm in Advaita. I'm the closest to Advaita I could possibly get throughout my day. And because of that conscious declaration that's made in that moment, then what Swamiji says, any self-hatred, self-denial, self-doubt that you face throughout your day, it can't affect you. It's not going to affect you because you've made that conscious declaration from the get-go at the beginning of the day itself. And like Paramestyananda is saying, during such an auspicious time of Brahma Muhurta as well.
Well, I don't know about you guys, but my experience when I'm doing puja, and I've had bits where I haven't done puja for a while, and then like when I do puja, and I know like there's a sincere, visceral difference, and like a visible and like a tangible difference in what it feels like, and what it actually feels like. Not just the restlessness goes away, but it feels like a breath of fresh air. It's like, okay, wait, this is who I am, and I feel that is that feeling of this is life, because I can go a day without doing puja, and then at no point in the day can I actually say like I felt that breath of fresh air. But when I do puja, and when I'm doing like other conscious activities like manifesting powers or something like that, literally feels like something else is breathing through me. And I think that is what Swamiji means by puja is life.
As you're saying that, the one thing that came to mind is we tend to disassociate puja with communion and communication with the divine. In my own personal experiences with puja, I feel like there's at a certain point in the beginning when you first start doing puja, it's kind of mechanical. You do the steps, you do the puja, you make your offerings, and then bam, puja's done. But at a certain point, it became to like a love affair. It became to such like a romantic sort of flirting, that happens in puja. And in that mood, it feels like such a communication is happening, such a, like, I'm showing my gratitude, Swamiji is showing me his love, and just connecting in that way. It's so sweet. And also the communication for me, it sometimes it happens in very like real ways, where I'll be offering and then Swamiji will give me an idea, and now I was not thinking anything about it. I was not there. My mind was just focused on doing an authentic puja, and those ideas just start boom, boom, boom coming. I almost feel like I should be taking notes, but I don't, because then I would have to stop doing puja. So it's just a real interesting, very depth level experience where you feel that there is something there bigger than just you as a body, as a soul, as a just you're connected to something bigger, and that something bigger is talking to you through you. And it's amazing. It really is.
Something I
That
wanted to
is-
share.
Yes.
Sorry, you can go.
Go ahead.
Well, I had the fortunate opportunity to be able to do a lot of the pujas in Toronto Adinam, and we have this Kalabera puja, and every time we do the Kalabera puja, like I don't even care like how many participants come or anything like that, but every time that we do it, it feels like, well, first of all, it feels like my kundalini shoots up, but it feels like I get connected with his energy, like I'm channeling his energy. And during the Abhishekam, it literally feels like the water is being poured on me. I'll feel like rain just falling down on me, and I'm like, this is the most beautiful feeling I've ever experienced. So I would like to tie that into like the Atma Puja, because I guess that's exactly that experience where you're doing puja to yourself.
You're talking about doing puja in the Garbha Mandir in Bidadi?
No, in Toronto.
In Toronto
Toronto.
Adinam.
In Toronto, Adinam. Okay. Well, I've also had a similar experience when I was in Bidadi. I was on the temple team for about 6 months, and I was responsible for doing the early morning 4 o'clock puja. And in the morning, you're tired, you don't want to do anything. It's really like especially when you're new to it, a struggle to get up and go about handling temple routine. But the moment you start pouring the water and the water is going on the linga, and that water, the same water, splashes on you, it becomes like less of a work, and it becomes like you're playing. It's like you're a child playing, and and showing your gratitude through that action. And just that shift, like such a big shift happened in those moments, in those really testing moments, where it shifted from work, it shifted from something I had to do to something I really, really felt grateful for doing in the moment of a single water touching my skin. I can say. So like I also really, that's really the key moments where I feel like I connected deepest with the puja experience, is when I did puja to a full size, a very big linga.
I'll add one more thing after you shared that. Just reminded me of something that I was sharing with a friend. Is when I was doing the Kalabera Puja, especially like when we get to like the ending where we're going to like more of the flower offerings and stuff like that. It feels like there's like a portal that opens up over my head. And if I were to close my eyes and just like sort of meditate on that portal, it feels like I would lose consciousness of this body. It would feel like I'm like leaving this body and it's just going to some another octave of energy. And I always get a little bit scared because I'm thinking like, oh wait, I'm conducting this puja, I need to be here. But it gets so intoxicating to even think about that portal that opens up.
So just to reset the context and restate the topic for anybody that's joined us, welcome to this evening's Vakyartha Sadhas. We are discussing puja, and in particular, today's topic is puja is life. Atma puja makes you manifest the highest powerful cognitions in life. And for those that have asked, I saw in the comment section early on, there is upcoming, it's Vishisha Diksha, I believe, that's happening, which is an initiation into puja happening November 22nd and 23rd. And if you're interested and would like to register for that, you can go to or email registrar@kailasa.org. So again, the topic for this evening is puja, and puja, Atma puja, manifests the highest powerful cognitions in life.
One thing that was mentioned, and that is also very intensely my experience, is that every day, if I'm seeking onto something, if I'm chewing on some spiritual cognition and trying to turning that cognition into, or something into cognition, to have more understanding or experience about something, most of the time during puja, it will come. The answer to that will come while the puja is happening. And actually, if I'm really, really aware during that time, actually there's so much stuff. At the end of the puja, I only remember so little, But while the puja is happening, it's like there's a flood of clicks that just boom, 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 boom. And then, but then you're in the process, and it's like so intense. And at the end of the puja, most of the time, I feel so good, and I don't know why. It almost doesn't make sense how it just like I feel so settled and so like, oh yeah, we can do. This is a very simple thing, but it's just like, yeah. And it almost doesn't make sense. Like, how is it happening? I have no clue. Like, it's like, it's a mystery.
Definitely that feeling of life positivity opens up after puja. It's a very, visible thing. Like, if anyone's not doing puja, and you need to have some sort of like spiritual practice if you're meditating or singing some bhajans or something like that. But I feel like definitely puja is something that sort of combines everything, every single way of interacting and using all the different components of our existence, like our mind, visualization, mantras, action, visualizations, all that sort of stuff gets integrated in this sort of sense, and we get to cultivate all these sentimental feelings and giving that to the ultimate. We're like, it's gonna be the most integrative and sort of all-encompassing sort of spiritual practice that can integrate you, make you feel powerful, and not leave any sort of gaps out there that still needs to be integrated. That's what I feel.
I loved what Swamiji said this evening. He said, a room in darkness, there could be a room of darkness for 10,000 years, but it does not mean that it takes 10,000 years to light the room. It just just need to light one match and the darkness fades away. He said, because darkness has no positive existence and light has a positive existence, and consciousness is the positive existence, and then our self-doubting, our self-hating, our self-denying thoughts, those are the negative existence. And so all it takes, like, you could be caught in a world of your own SDHTs, your own patterns, your own cognitions that are just negative energy, but one puja, one puja can completely wipe that all away, and it can empower you. It can empower your consciousness to just like lighting a match in a dark room. It doesn't matter how long you've been in a dark place, no matter how long you've been struggling with certain patterns, etc. One puja is lighting a match inside of a dark room. And so this is why consciousness is so superior, saying this is why he insists on puja, he is saying.
One thing also I've experienced is that the puja, it's like we're engaging with the divine, but with all our senses. When you're really aware, yesterday we were talking about conscious involvement, right? And what I'm seeing is that if I'm really consciously involved and I feel, we first engage with all the elements, the fire, the water, the metal, the earth, and all the elements are present. And then if you're really consciously involved and you touch and you feel and you hear, the incense is going, water is dripping, flame is happening, smell, it's just like all your senses are just like so engaged in something that is divine, not like an advertisement where you're super engaged by sound and visuals and it's just promoting some silly thing just to get you where they want you to get you. But it's really like putting the divine as a physical experience, not just like a mental thing, but it's real and it's engaging. That's actually that's clicking, that's coming back, and I think maybe that's one of the reasons why it's so powerful.
I think one thing that a lot of people might miss out is like they can't really understand the concept of puja and like offering something to a stone or like a metal statue, and it doesn't make any sense. Yet the feelings that it generates inside the being, especially the gratitude that we experience, is actually, we get to enjoy that gratitude. It's not like we're praising something and that we're giving away something. Is actually something that we're gaining. We're gaining that gratitude, and that feeling is like something that I'd give anything for, because that's the only thing that makes you feel pure and sort of like a divine being. Anything other than that, it's like it's not even worth having.
That's so perfect, because gratitude is such like in Swamiji is one of his Bhagavad Gita satsangs. He said gratitude is the greatest emotion. And when you were saying that, I was cognizing, even when you feel gratitude and say you say you do puja and you feel gratitude and you're in that oneness space and you're just like feeling that appreciation, you go about your day with a certain level of appreciation in your heart. You go about your future with a certain level of joy and satisfaction in your being that attracts people and situations that complement that satisfaction, that appreciation, that gratitude. And it just builds. That positivity builds on more positivity, builds on more positivity. And I feel like when we cherish that gratitude, we also spread that gratitude. We allow for that gratitude to be shared with other people, and people unconsciously, subconsciously, they enjoy that too. And that's how like the blessings come back to us in so many different folds. And it's all because of puja. And you're right, it doesn't make logical sense. It really doesn't, but it makes experiential sense. It makes experiential sense.
Not only that, for me, like as a spiritual being trying to, on my path towards enlightenment, needing some sort of guidance, especially when I do puja, it gives me this recognition of a frequency that I kick into, like this, like I was saying earlier, like it feels like I'm taking a breath of fresh air for the first time for that day at least. Then I use that as sort of like a standard to be able to measure my day. If I'm feeling that same sort of breath of fresh air throughout the whole day, then I know good things are gonna happen. If I feel like if I gauge with someone that I have some sort of incompletion with, and something happens, some sort of reaction happens, and then I'll have a visceral feeling that oh shit, I stepped out of my my frequency. And if you get to have that experience of getting that breath of fresh air over and over throughout the day, you get to keep on reminding yourself of the visceral frequency that we need to operate from to be able to manifest the life that we want and to be actually enriching to other people instead of just interacting on a very mind-based basis. So for me, it's like a guiding light. It creates that spark, and then I'll just have to just coast with that until maybe something happens, but then that gives me insight into what is my blind spot that's keeping me away from that gratitude space throughout the whole day.
I remember Swamiji was saying, and initially I did experience it like that also. Doing puja every day is so important. Even at the beginning, I did not necessarily have experiences at the beginning right away. But Swamiji says puja is powerful enough. You don't need to understand or whatever. Just do it. It will happen. And it's true. I mean, initially I was not having the experiences I'm having now, but just having that basic integrity to that instruction and this golden ball given by the master, by the guru to you. And it's an experience which grows. The more you do it, the more you get it. And yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also been my experience, is if you do what the enlightened master is saying, then you can have the experiences. That's one of the things I find so funny, is people saying, why should I follow some instruction without knowing, why should I so-called blindly follow an instruction? Everything we do in life is blindly following something we've learned either from our own understanding or from other people. Everything we're taught in school, how to put on your clothes, how to take bath, everything is taught to you to follow before you have experience. How do you expect to have experience before you enter into the space, the space that can give you the experience. So I feel that's one of the, it's certainly necessary to have an enlightened being who can speak your language and directly give you the instruction and experience of how to reproduce the truth of your life in your life.
I laugh at that because well, not at that, but like what you're saying, that's we learn from everyone, and especially since we have a guru and we're doing our guru puja and stuff like that, people will see this as, why are you worshiping a being? Then I'm thinking, like, everyone has some sort of role model. They're looking up to someone in whatever field that they're in, but then that role model is not a role model in all fields. So that then they have to keep track of like an array of role models to be able to aspire to something greater than themselves. I just consciously chose who I want to be like, and he's an embodiment of everything that I want in all areas. So for me, it just seems like a competitive, like it makes such logical sense, and it's a competitive advantage, so I don't have to follow so many different role models. But like you said, everyone's following someone, everyone's worshiping something. The great thing we're doing, we're constantly consciously choosing who we want to worship, instead of following, we followed this bit of programming that told us to follow this, and then we're basically a slave to that.
Right. So, like, the way I cognize that, in a very important point, is that everyone has their conscious energy invested somewhere, right? We just choose to invest it in our spiritual growth, in investing in growing consciously, whereas people unconsciously choose different avenues they think will bring them happiness and XYZ. So it's not that. I think a lot of people have a hard time connecting those dots, and I feel like also a lot of people are very, very judgmental on themselves too when it comes to that, and that as a result gets we experience that. People on the outside, they give whatever they're feeling on the inside, but I'm sorry, Sri Nanatma, can you repeat what you had said just prior? Because there was something I wanted to say off of that. Could you repeat the gist of what you said earlier? Because it was on my mind and I wanted to speak about it.
Yeah, my understanding is that everyone, we're all living here, like puja is life. Atma puja makes you manifest highest powerful cognitions in life. So the experience that I have is during the puja, like I've understood previously, that our powerlessness is not real, our incompletions is not real, even our mind is not real. All these kinds of things are temporary, and so getting distracted by them is not real. That's delusion. So only when you're aligned to the source of you that remains as an intelligent source, like the mind changes and all these things change, but the intelligent source that is each of ours intelligence, when we look inside, we everyone, this is the thing, it's the easy test, everyone can look in and see a vast intelligence inside, and that is existing now, waiting to fill the baby that gets born 1 minute from now. That consciousness is awaiting and available to fill that body also. So whether or not our physical bodies exist, the source of our consciousness that gives us consciousness exists, and that exists as far as we can even measure eternally. And based on the Vedic scriptures, that is the consciousness that pervades everything. So puja connects us to our source. So puja is life. The source of you is much more life than this body, than these delusions and confusion. So time, the passage of time and change of what we perceive as change and multiplicity, that is not life. Powerful cognition is life. Connecting to the undiminishable, powerful source of life is life. Puja puts you in that space.
I just had a click. Why is puja leading to powerful cognitions? Because puja, it reestablishes you in yourself, and yourself is always established in powerful cognitions.
So that's the Atma Puja part of the puja. Nice.
Yeah. One of the greatest realizations, Swamiji gives so many realizations, and it's a pure gift, and it's only experience that will make it meaningful. It was mentioned earlier, I think by Parameshtiananda, about, maybe by Kritananda, that the puja is worshiping yourself. And I was walking one day thinking about the Sadguru Vandanam, Nithyanandam Paramasukhiram Kevalam Jnanamurtim, going through it. And when you close your eyes and do puja, and you look towards your source, all those, what you're saying, Nithyanandam Paramasukhiram, the eternal, the supreme happiness, the supreme bliss, the eternal supreme bliss. And so it's always that thing of like when an enlightened master is doing puja, they're doing puja to themselves. And that's one of the most beautiful realizations I've had through puja, and even just Sadguru Vandanam, is when you're evoking the eternal causeless bliss, that is a great thing. And it's a great thing to like say thank you to that. And that thing, when you say thank you, connect to the eternal causeless auspiciousness and connect to it, that floods you. And you just realize that it can wash away any other incompletions. And when you're looking inside and saying, eternal, causeless, blissful being, please come and bless me, you know, it sometimes is from that more powerless space that I'm not that, I'm requesting that thing to come. But when you look deeply into it, it's like, wow, that's me. I'm calling to my eternal source that is me. And that really awesome thing that I normally sit in puja and say, hey, awesomeness, bless me. That's me.
I had another click so actually we don't need to worry about remembering powerful cognitions. If you just do puja and sit with that self, that you, automatically cognitions will come. It's not something you have to add, because like the self is already always established in powerfulness. So you don't need to remember something. You just need to constantly establish yourself in the self, which you experience when you do puja. So remembering who you are, having an experience of you, that is what happens when you do puja in the morning, is the most important, so that you don't forget who you are throughout the day. Otherwise, when you go to sleep, you become unconscious of your existence. When you sleep, you're not aware of your existence. So when you wake up, a lot of powerful cognitions are gone. But if you do puja and re-experience yourself in the morning, then that experience is the foundation that you use to engage with everything you do throughout the day.
Well, a nice little trick to combat that, the sleeping thing, just sleep with the Mahavakya playing. If you tried that, it's so amazing.
I just want to quickly reiterate today's topic. Somebody was mentioning something in the comments. Today, we're not discussing what is puja, but the topic is actually puja is life, and Atma Puja makes you manifest the highest powerful cognitions in life. So we're not just explaining what is puja, but more a much broader understanding of this and how it affects us in our day-to-day life.
I think we reached an interesting interesting milestone in this Vakyartha Sadhas with Sri Asatoshananda sharing, because the statement really shows how we in this Vakyartha Sadhas shifted from the idea of us not being the source and connecting to the source, enjoying that, and then carrying that joy throughout the day, to remembering that we are the source and enjoying that and carrying that throughout the day. And when we, through this conversation, are established and reestablish ourselves, and yes, yeah, we are that, we are that's me, then that it goes it's more permanent. It's not etheric. It's not a concept anymore. It's an experience.
Actually, something I want to add to that, like the beauty of puja, like if you ever tried, like, you know, once you're in an incomplete state and try to think your way back to that space, it's like next to impossible. Yet, like, puja is like this nice little potion or like sort of like magic spell that we do just to beautifully just put us there. So it's like a shortcut when you can't really get there mentally. You can't get there mentally. First of all, you can't get there mentally, but like I know all of us tried once we're incomplete to get there, and like how much frustration that we face to be able to get there. But then something as simple as just doing a puja establishes you there.
I love that. There's a word, the word ritual. There's so many people who have like such a taboo idea of like what a ritual is, and puja, you're doing a ritual. But me, I cherish the concept of a ritual, because a ritual is just what you said. It's just, if you cognize it this way, it's just a spell or a shortcut to get you to the space that you need to and function most powerfully from, the space of Paramashivatva. And it's not like a shortcut is a very slang way of putting it. It's a science. It's a science. Puja is a science to get you to realign to the space of Paramashivatva. And people need to cognize puja as that way. I really feel like that's a very powerful way of cognizing puja in order to in order for someone who's not doing puja already to decide to do it, because people trust science. So it is a science. The Vedas, agamic rituals are scientific in the way that they shift your space to the space of Paramashivatva.
And I think the power of integrity sort of amplifies, you know, the power of the ritual. Like at first, you know, it might not get you to that space. Like I remember Swamiji saying in one satsang, he's saying that you know, first time you attend like a temple function or something like that, it might not be your best experience, but if you choose to remember it in a very good experience, then the next time you do it, the next time you go, and the next time it's gonna get you to that experience so much more quicker. So it's like we're engraving this sort of experience of the puja into our brain, and the more times we do it with the integrity, we're like drilling that sort of brain subtle groove inside the brain, and then every time we run energy through it, it just becomes such a you know, a strong circuit that starts to manifest in our experience and give us those emotions, give us that access, give us that connection that we're seeking.
Yeah, that's what I have experienced also, is so many people living in the ritual of drinking alcohol, the ritual of drinking coffee, the ritual of smoking cigarettes, the ritual of sleeping in, the ritual of complaining about others, the ritual of having habits that make our life part of suffering, the ritual of avoiding the problems we have. And so what I've seen, what I've experienced is that that's not life, and people don't feel that that is life, that when that they know something bigger, more important exists. And the beauty that manifests as even a young child, that pure, innocent, enlightened consciousness is life. And so it's not that humans have never known some way to manifest life more strongly and to make choices that you can, from the time a child is born, give them the correct introduction to what life is. Life is not necessarily suffering and unavoidable reproducing patterns. But there's other rituals that are conscious rituals that are consciously chosen. And there's a simple science to those things of remembering the source, remembering something bigger than just this planet, than just our problems. And there's a science of sound, of how sound impacts your system. There's a science of thinking. What kind of thoughts are helpful to you, holding us in the space of powerfulness? And there's a science of consciousness, that it's beyond the mind. And so we're fortunate enough that these rituals have been revealed from the consciousness through enlightened beings, and even written down in literally trillions of verses in Vedic tradition, and it's actually still available today, and has been manifested as even the Gurukul system of what are the most important things the human beings need to know and develop as their own rituals to keep them connected with their source. And these kind of things we have as a way to use, even if you don't know it. These conscious rituals will lead you to more consciousness rather than bind you up in further addiction.
One click I'm having, Atma Puja is the source of powerful cognition. And we do Guru Puja and then Shiva Puja. Guru Puja, Guru is he's the door to make us experience Shiva. So what I realized is, when Swamiji was saying that you don't know who Shiva is, what God is actually. You have your own idea, but what he is and what you think he is not the same thing. So for that, you need Guru. You need the avenue of Guru to guide you so that you can experience the surrendering and then realize what Paramashiva is and realize that Paramashiva is you. So I just clicked how you do Guru Puja, which is you enter into the door, which is Guru, to experience Shiva. And after that, you do Shiva Puja. And after Shiva Puja, it is just that I am one with that Soham Asmi experience. So
you're saying that Guru Puja gives you the right context and right understanding about Shiva to be able to do Shiva Puja.
Because Swamiji was saying very clearly that you do not know what Paramashiva is. You have your own idea, but this idea is not real. There's part of your delusion is also pasted on that idea. So it is not the real. So you feel connected to something that is projection of your delusion. So that has to be broken also. That delusion has to be removed. And Guru comes to remove that.
To break down those fantasies, right? We have so many.
So you can realize Paramashiva as he is and realize that you are that. But for that, you need to know what he is truly. Otherwise, you will think you are something that is not real. If you think Paramashiva is in a certain way, which is not real, and you think you are that, then you're cherishing your own delusion. So you need to realize what Paramashiva is first. And then after that, you can say, oh, I am that. But if you don't know what he is, then you will be nothing but the projection of your delusion, which is delusion. So that is why, yes.
See, Guru plays both the roles. That to remove the delusions, but also to remove the illusions. Naturally, people are inclined, okay, Swamiji, remove the delusions. Easy to remove the delusions. But when he starts removing the illusions, the things you fantasize, the things you have a positive projection about the nature of reality, those are the moments where you feel like, oh, I'm getting too close, or he's getting too close to me, or you feel a little uncomfortable. But those are the real layers, both sides. You need to remove layers from both sides to see the real Paramashivatva. And every experience that I've had is only a result of Swamiji. So it only makes sense, the Guru Puja alongside the Shiva Puja, because I would not know Shiva in any experiential way without Guru.
And that is why in that satsang I was referring to, Swamiji was saying how his Guru gave him the cognition, the powerful cognition that Guru is not Shiva, Shiva is Guru. So Guru is the first step towards Shiva.
Paramesya, I was going to just ask if you wanted to lead that into your powerful cognition from this evening's Vakyartha Sadhas, as we have about 10 minutes left here. You're muted though, Paramestya.
Sorry about that. The powerful cognition that I wanted to share was Swamiji had mentioned during the satsang. If the consciousness declares something to time, that is more powerful than the declarations of the mind. So when each and every one of us make that conscious decision to align to anything, but most importantly, integrity to Guru Vak and the teachings of Swamiji, that is more powerful than any of the ups and downs we experience on a day-to-day basis, and we tend to associate ourselves with, and the feelings of guilt are associated with that as well. All of that is secondary to the conscious decision. The more we decide and continue to decide every day during every puja, the stronger that decision becomes, and the more and more that decision manifests as a reality in our lives. And that's the powerful cognition that I want to share.
Beautiful. Kritananda, would you like to share your powerful cognition from this evening's Vakyartha Sadhas?
Yeah, sure. My powerful cognition I'm going to be taking home is puja is the gateway for us to experience our powerful cognitions. Nice and short.
Mananda?
Yes. I will take as powerful cognition sharing that puja is life, and not all life is accidental. There's an entire enlightenment civilization founded in that puja is life, that connects you to your conscious source. By the Vedic understanding, is the consciousness that pervades all things and is the eternal life and source. There's an entire civilization designed around the experience that puja is life, to connect you to your eternal source. And I remember the line Tattvamasyadi Laksham, which my understanding means the guru is the key that points you towards the real you.
My powerful cognition puja is life. If you don't experience and remember yourself, you do not know life.
I would say my powerful cognition is puja is life, but for me, I cognize it as puja is needed. I often, with Shivastamba yoga, the pole yoga, where you're twirling your body and you're balancing on this 9-foot tall wooden pole, I always just have this visualization when you're on the pole, just like when you're going through the most difficult moments in your life, the most difficult moments in your day, you just need to hang on to the divine. Just hang on to Paramashiva. And the pole, the Shiva Stamba pole, is Paramashiva. You're twirling and balancing on Paramashiva, the Paramashivatva within you. And puja, for me, I feel is needed to hold on to that. And it's always just been my anchor to, like, it's the one thing that you have that you can control to put yourself in a powerful state of consciousness. And then to what Swamiji was saying this evening, that it's superior to everything else. It's superior to the mind, thoughts, the SDHDs. And so for me, when I'm going throughout my day, and if I were to not have done puja, then it's like you're setting yourself up for failure. And so puja is, for me, it's like my lifeline that keeps me connected to Paramashiva within me, without me, and therefore it's needed. And that's why puja is life for me.
To add on to that, sorry.
Yeah, please, we have some time. So
Especially from the context that, puja is life, and it's like only when we do puja and we get that, like I was explaining, that breath of fresh air, which is that consciousness, are we actually doing any work, any progress at all? And if we don't actually step into that sort of space, it's just basically rerunning the same karmic patterns that we've been running throughout our whole lives. So either it's not going anywhere, or we're just going back because we're creating more and more, negative reactions to all the things that we've been doing. So basically, it's the only time that you've been awake. So it is literally the only time in your life.
would anybody like
one of the important components of puja is that when you sit, it's only you and puja, and that's a context, right? Everything else just disappears. It's just you and puja. And if you're doing it authentically, you're not supposed to be disturbed or to. It's supposed to be like such a sacred, intense moment where nothing else matters. And I think that space is very key to the experience that we get.
Yeah, and if maybe if someone is capable to, we should share what is the Vishesha Diksha, because that is one of the greatest initiations into spiritual life that someone can get.
Well, one thing we can be said is that during Vishesha Diksha, you receive the Atmalinga. And the Atmalinga is so important that if you lose it, Guru cannot give you a second one. Yes, that's how it looks. Swamiji was sharing, like, some people, they have lost it, and he said, I can't give it to you, you have to take it. So it gives you an idea of like how intense it is. You can't lose it. So that gives you, I think, at least for me, it gives like, okay, whoa, what's going on here? This is pretty important. It's like top notch in terms of importance.
I think on top of that, I remember him saying, I think it was through in Sadashivam, he was giving us all these mandalas and all these, like the importance of each of these mandalas, and we got like an array of like 15 of them. And then at the end of the program, he just randomly just says, like, what trumps all of this is your Atmalinga. Just doing Rudravishekam to your Atmalinga gives you an experience that is 1,000 times more powerful than any of these things that I've given you.
He was stating that in the Agamas, Shiva is very clear. There's nothing can be compared to the Atmalinga. Nothing can be compared. It's the ultimate alchemy product.
Yeah, exactly. And I remember the Shiva Diksha, Vishesha Diksha being initiation into living like Shiva. So an enlightened master who knows how to use consciousness can put himself into the space where he can initiate your mind, body, and being into that conscious space, and then by taking on certain lifestyle practices, you can deepen that experience of consciousness in your life. This is one of the basic blessings of Vishesha Diksha.
There is a big difference. Maybe I'll just say with the last minute here. So I remember my first inner awakening. I went to India and in Varanasi, and I didn't know what puja was before I went to inner awakening. But I was a part of every puja, and I remember just sitting. I understood like gratitude, and the more I was in that space of gratitude, the more I would like attract that into my reality and whatnot. So I had like very deep, nice meditations during the pujas without actually offering. But then when I got initiated into the puja and then actually started to do the actions, offering the flowers, the dupa, the flames, everything, like all the elements, it was a different space. Like you can't compare the two between, just sitting there and meditating when actually offering various different things to Paramashiva. It's truly empowering. And so if you are interested at all in receiving this blessing of Vishisha Diksha, there is an initiation happening November 22nd to 23rd, and you can email registrar@kailasa.org and experience the benefits that we are all talking about. And maybe before you leave this evening's session, leave a comment and let us know what your powerful cognition is that you're taking away from this evening's Vakyartha Sadhas. And with that, we'll close out with the Puna Mantra. And thank you, everybody, for joining in that has spent this evening with us. It was a pleasure, as always. And maybe I'll just lead us in this, since we lost our fellow disciple. So if you could just bring your hands together in front of your heart. Take an inhale through the nose. Om Purnamadav Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyade Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyade. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Sarvam Bhagavat Sri Nithyananda Paramashiva Paduka Paramastu. Om Nithyanandam. Nithyanandam, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in, and have a great evening. Be blissful.
Nithyananda.
Nithyananda.